It's not started yet because my computer is just moving slowly. Hang on. You'll hear it say meeting recording.
Hi, my name is Tracey and I'm an alcoholic.
Hold on. This is October 14, 2024 at DELRAY Beach Nuna's Treasure in the Traditions Workshop, Tradition 9 with Miss Tracey P.
Good evening. My name is Tracey and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm really excited to be here with you tonight from Monterrey, Mexico. So in the back of the 12 and 12, it says Tradition 9. Each AA group needs the least possible organization. Rotating leadership is the best. The small group may elect a secretary, the large group its rotating committee, and the groups of a large metropolitan area, their central or intergroup committee, which often employs a full-time secretary. The trustees of the General Service Board are, in effect, our AA General Service Committee. They are the custodians of our AA traditions and the receivers of voluntary AA contributions, which we maintain our AA General Service at New York. They are authorized by the groups to handle our overall public relations and the guarantees the integrity of our principal newspaper, the AA Grapevine. All such representatives are to be guided in the spirit of service, for true leaders in AA are but trusted. We just have God organizes us through this tradition too. That boy, his loving guidance comes upon us when we are doing our business meetings, and that's my little narrow-minded thinking. And in the creating service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve, I remember for years. I thought, AA headquarters was a little desk with a woman with a little dial phone, hello, Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I went in 2015 to New York to GSO, I was like, oh, wow, big fancy desks and boardrooms. And I was like, so if you don't think we're organized, you haven't seen New York yet. Because what this beautiful long form tells us is that, we've got all this stuff to do, and cause we're trying to carry the message, and we got bigger than Bill or Bob have ever dreamed. And so, there's going to be some planning that takes place, because otherwise it's just going to be Mayhaven. I want to jump all of a sudden. I feel really compelled to tell you about, because I want to talk about what this means to me and then my experience with it. And so when I said Mayhaven, I was like, it brought me back to last January. I was the chairperson for our district's anniversary. And I've never done anything like this before, but I'm like, I can do it, because nobody wanted to do it. It was going to not happen. And I'm like, no. We're going to have this happen. And, I think I did a good job. I got a lot of people involved, but I made a mistake at the registration table. I told 4 people to do the same job, sit at the registration table. And it was a total mess, because everybody was like, well, am I collecting the money? No, you're collecting. Well, Tracey told me, and so I was like, this is why we need to be organized. You can't just throw a bunch of people at a table and tell them all. You have to literally say, well, who's going to be the one that's going to write the names down? Because it was a walk-up registration thing, and I didn't think this through, and nobody told me what to do. And that's kind of the spirit of service that I really emphasized was, and that's where the people in the past positions really have an obligation to let people find their own way. But as my friend Billy says, so if you see a big mistake happening, and that's what I love, rotation. Oh my gosh, so let's go to rotation. So this long form rotation, what I see in my little world, my little neck of the corner, is in Mexico. That's where I am involved in service. And it's dangerous for people's egos to be like the blah blah blah. and somebody told me that, the hardest position to fill is one that is not vacant. And so if someone keeps doing it over and over and over again, and it's really hard for someone to step up and fill that position. And the thing about, I love my mentors. I love my district committee member. I love our, the people that's how they're all intertwined, the concepts, the steps, the concepts and the traditions, because isn't one of the concepts that, the right of decision, that, whoever is in charge gets to choose how they're going to do it. We don't get to micromanage. And so, the rotation is that it's dangerous for us to be thinking that we are the pro at something. And the hardest thing is to step back and be a past something and let the new people do their job and not, and not try to think that you know what's best. And I got to experience that in Spain. I was at a conference and I was watching them do their thing, and I was like, I wanted to, step in and maybe do some things. I'm like, you're invited here. You do not get to go and help. They're asking you you came to speak. Just shut up and let them do their thing. But it's a good exercise, to just sit back and just and because that's the thing, is that we're trying to, I think, is we're motivating new leaders, grooming new leaders, grooming new people to take on these service positions. And if we are bossy and we're telling them how to do it, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to say, you do it. I got an idea. You do it. And so I love that we get, this covers this rotation in this tradition. The other thing that really stands out is that, we have these roles, service positions, because they're not called jobs or positions. It's your service. And our primary purpose, we get to just cling to the rest of the traditions and remember, okay, what's our mission statement? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? And yes, obviously, I love how he says the least possible organization, because at the end of the day, how many events have we been at, or how many service meetings, or what do you call them in the U.S.? It's like your group conscious meetings, where you have to go with the flow. There's going to be things that come up. There are going to be people who take a little bit longer. There's going to be, love and tolerance is our code. And I can't help but think I personally think that the steps, traditions, concepts are kind of like a little bit entwined, and how funny that the promise after steps 9 is that, we're going to, love and tolerance, is going to come into our lives. And that allows me to even consider this, because, I wanted, the old Tracey used to want credit. I wanted applause. I wanted recognition. I wanted credit. I wanted, and so this tradition saves me from that, because I get to do anonymous things, and we always have to leave room for, how's this going to go down? Well, not how you say, or not how it's, hopefully how our higher power has planned. And we also don't get what I pull out of this tradition is that we don't get to get mad at each other and blame each other and say, well, you didn't do this. It's like, why are we here? We're all just trying to stay sober. Did we all stay sober? Did we pass a message? Did we, what? Good job. And so, just extend a margin for human, being human, and not be, and it's such a good lesson for me about delegating. And it really ties into, I think, the 9th concept about, picking the right people for the, leadership. So, anyways, it was really fun to dive in deeper into this. Some of the things I took away from in the language of the heart was working together. this tradition really helps me learn how to play nicely on the playground, like share and be courteous and all that kind of stuff. If I don't have the bottom of my triangle, my personal recovery, then I really kind of have no business being at a circle or at a table with any of you, because I won't be able to implement working nicely, and will be, I don't know. I mean, how many times I've overstepped my boundaries once with at a group service meeting, the group conscious meeting, where everybody was yelling at each other, and even our chairperson was not able to control people with a bell that we use in Mexico. And so I loudly started saying the Serenity Prayer, and it did kind of calm people down, but people judged me afterwards and said, "Who are you to do that?" And I was like, one who didn't want to see a fist fight in my home group, but so working together, and then the structure and the flexibility, structure, flexibility, you know what I mean? We're the least possible organization, and we have the beautiful thing that we always come back to, our primary purpose, to help the alcoholic who's still suffering. And, let me go to, now I can't even remember the regular version, give me a minute. Oh, creating the boards, and what I know about creating boards, who are directly responsible to those they serve. It's like, who's willing to raise their hand? That's usually how a board gets created around here where I live is, and we're doing that right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the guy who I think should be delegate is being our chairperson for our next anniversary meeting. And I'm thinking, dude, you are way too qualified for this job, but he wanted to do it. And so I'm on a committee this year for our anniversary, and I think I'm on registration committee, and I might be, okay, who's going to have the pen and who's going to count the money, and then when the anniversary's over, we go back and we do something else, so we get this little board and we get to rotate. That is what's so cool, is that we take turns, because there might be a little old Tracey in me that said, well, I did such a good last year. I did a good job. We had the best turnout ever. Wow, Tracey. No, or let me do it again. No, this tradition ensures that, what, Tracey, yes, thank you for your service. Because you know what? At the end of the day, it kept my little face out of, it was a gift for me. You don't know how many times any people that on the International Women's Conference, area message for the women, anything that I do, we all at the end of it say, wow, that was such a blessing, because it really, that season of my life, it really kept me out of trouble, because I was busy. I was busy with, doing this and this and this and this. And so I really believe that everybody gets what they need at the time that you need it. And if you're willing to have a balanced triangle, that is because, like I said, I don't know if you guys know anything about my story, but I was a taker in Alcoholics Anonymous for a long, long time. It wasn't till I was really, really suffering, and I was willing to be that hand of Alcoholics Anonymous in another country, in another language. But it was somebody who actually was the one who mentioned for me to do this tonight. She's the one that got me so enthusiastic about the concepts that I was rushing to my area saying, or my district saying, what can I do? What can I do? And we have a real lack of trusted servants in where I live. And so they're like, please come. And one of the coolest jobs coolest positions or whatever is the coffee maker. This Sunday is my assembly, and I am just the alternate GSR, and my GSR is going to be there voting for our new delegate, but I get to be there making coffee, and I get to get there early, and I get to pull a bunch of people from my home group and say, come on, you guys, it's Sunday. It's our assembly, and it's a huge, important assembly. And, and you know what, when people get involved and they get exposed to this, then they might be, in my experience, people start saying, I like this. I like being around you guys. And so being not so organized, but totally structured. I mean, from, the thing that we read at every district meeting, at every area meeting, it's a beautiful excerpt. And I think it's our third legacy where Bill talks about, from making coffee to the GSO, and the trustees and the general service board. And it's like, there's something so endearing to me about that there's no differentiation, there's absolutely no different, there's no higher or lower or hierarchy that, you have a more prestigious service. They're all, I love how Bill just makes it real clear. We're all important. We're all doing what we can. And everybody's got their special gift. People are better at some things than others. And the spirit of rotation gives us the opportunity. Because I even raised my hand. I said, I'll be treasurer. I don't think I could do that. But you know what? Let me push myself. I'll learn in a small little safe environment with my district. If they let me be the treasurer, and they guide me and they, maybe I could, that's what's so cool about the rotation is that, because if you always have the person who's good with numbers being the treasurer, I mean, I'm good with numbers, but it's not my, I like to be I like the people person, you know what I mean? I'd rather do that. But, I think it's really important that we stretch ourselves and we learn and we grow and we get out of our comfort zone and we can do things that we never thought we could because of that spirit of rotation. Let's see I don't remember exactly what the things are. Well, actually I remember thinking, I don't think I can do this, but everybody's like, well, we'll be there with you. And I have 11 sponsees. And so I had a committee of 11 instantly, that couldn't say no to me and helping me, go early and set up chairs and order the cake and blah, blah, blah. And, anyways, so I'm really, really grateful that my district gives us opportunities to, that we really put into practice this rotation. And that's a healthy group. That's a healthy district, a healthy area that's really putting these in place, because without them, what are we? You know what I mean? It would be absolute, war. People I've heard, I was really, really sad to hear I was in Galicia in North Spain, I think. And I got to talk to some ex-trustees and I got to talk to some delegates and their conference people. They have a not high turnout for the conference because they have it during spring Easter week. And some people don't want to take off that time away from their family to be at the conference. And sometimes you get the feeling that some of those interactions, because I've heard, that sometimes it's challenging at any level, our group business meeting, our district meeting, our area, or the conferences, whatever country you're in, that if we aren't really applying the traditions at a deeply spiritual level, it can get icky. But the cool thing is that we we shake hands at the end and we walk away and then we go have tacos. That's what we do here in Mexico. So anyways, so being your personal recovery, love and tolerance, my experience is that love and tolerance is crucial in that's what this ninth tradition of, gently Bill reminding us, once again, it's not a business structure, but we do have, if you look at what I've learned in the last few years of being in general service about all the permanent committees and the public information and the cooperation with the professionals and the institutions and then the subcommittees. I'm a chairperson of the subcommittee of public information for the message for the women, because we don't have a strong support for women. Sometimes a woman goes to a meeting and there are no women there. and the men are hitting on her. And so we're little by little doing some stuff to get the women involved and getting them hooked up with each other. But when you look at the structure and how things go, and I learned very, very quickly here, is that I wanted to go around the procedures sometimes and just say, oh, let's just do it this way. It was like, no, there is a way to do things. Like, for example, if I'm friends with the grapevine rep at my district and I want to go around my group and just talk to her about something, that's what's so beautiful, is that everything has checks and balances. And that's why what I used to think was, oh, we're not organized. Yeah, just do it, whatever. No, there really is the inverted triangle, and the way that you do things. And I was corrected and I was kind of embarrassed, like, oh, you're right. I can't just, for example, I was trying to make a contribution once and they said, well, have that go directly to at the committee. I can put it in the seventh tradition at the committee, but I just can't hand a bill to my delegate. You know what I mean? And just all kinds of things that you realize that it's for our own protection. It's for our own safety. All the traditions are protecting us from us. And so that's the myth that I was raised on, is that we're not organized. And I'm so happy to see that we really do have a lot of organization. But it's, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, there's procedures and it's, guess where you can find it all? Right here in the service manual. It's like, how dare you call us not organized? Oh my gosh, look at this. But you know what? Guess what? July, we're going to be 90 years old, and this was written in 1955, 1951, or, around then is when Bill started, plasmating all of this. And it's been around all these years and it's keeping us afloat. So thank God for the least possible organization that we think when we read this tradition, because it really does keep us safe, and it keeps, and I don't know about you guys, but, here in Mexico, one of the hugest problems is there's a lot of people out there that are using a circle and a triangle. And they are using, Alcoholics Anonymous, and they're not Alcoholics Anonymous. And that was one of the things that came from Mexico's conference this year. Is our theme is we're taking possession. We're going to let the professionals know. We're going to let the media, our trust ACASIs are trained. They're going through a lot of effort right now to go out there and let people know what is Alcoholics Anonymous and what is not Alcoholics Anonymous. And thank God, everything, there's nothing new. It's all right in here. Bill does give us a lot of leeway for evolving, without changing the basic traditions. But anyways, that's my experience. Another thing is that, accepting that, the new people, to do a better job than you, and let them do it the way that they come up with, and that's not always easy to do. Also, another thing is that I just got, I was on my group's alternate GSR, and in July or August, I asked to be their GSR for the next 2 years, and they did not vote me in. And the person who got the position, I have told him, he's going to be a great GSR. And then I said, please promise me that you won't fizzle away, really go forward, because our district needs potential district committee member candidates. And I was so grateful to be able to honestly, because I put it in my God box, that I was like, God, it's either I am going to be this position or I'm not going to be this position. You decide for me, where do you want me to serve you? And so I was perfectly fine with that when they voted no. It was a good experience. It was an interesting experience. I got to right away talk to my sponsor about it, because I was kind of tempted to say, excuse me? Because they want me to stay there still alternate. And I'm like, no, because he said, please, I need you. And I'm like, I can't, because the spirit of rotation, and so someone else is going to do a better job, and if they don't, I get to keep my mouth shut, and I get to just take on another position or service, and I get to just, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be challenging for me to not want to say, it is, and get in there and want to, tell them what to do, because it's really a beautiful job. I mean, side note, if anybody's not a GSR, it is so amazing to watch people just blossom, and as soon as somebody gets into being the representative for the professional corroboration, I go and I buy them the little manual and I sit down and I get them excited about it and say, look, this is what you get to do, and you get to come to the district and you get to, learn about the reports and the events, and, and they're like, so excited about it. And you know what? I've decided that, I've not decided anything. I'm taking a hunch that maybe this is where God wants me, is just to motivate, just to inspire, because it really is, an honor. I don't know about you guys where you are, but it looks to me, I have a sponsee in Texas, and they, there's a lot of people wanting to do positions of service positions, and there are not a lot available, and so it really is an honor, and, anyway, so our never thinking that we're indispensable. I am totally replaceable, and I truly believe that, if it weren't Tracey, God would put somebody else here. I know it. She might be named Tiffany or Susie, but there would be someone doing exactly what I do, and I feel really honored that it gets to be me. Because that just means I'm sober, and I get to be of service today. I get to be useful, to my God and to my fellows. But I hope that was enough on Tradition 9 and not too much of my other stuff. But I think that's it. So thank you for the opportunity.